So we're in a cemetery in West Springfield, Massachusetts, and what we're trying to do is point out the properties of these cemeteries. Now, we're in the B'nai Jacob Cemetery, which is one of 4 Jewish cemeteries in West Springfield that are adjacent to each other and also adjacent to the St. Thomas Cemetery. And this B'nai Jacob Cemetery belongs to the B'nai Jacob Synagogue in Springfield, which started out as being the first Hebrew synagogue in western Massachusetts. It started out in neighborhoods in the north end of Springfield, and they couldn't afford their own synagogue. So for a few years only, from the 1881, 30 years to 1921, they had to buy spaces in people's houses and storefronts for 30 years until they got enough money, and they finally had their own synagogue, Congress Street, in 1921. And then they decided to move to Long Meadow in 1963, where they still reside. B'nai Jacob, sometimes called the Sons of Jacob. Now, the people in that congregation have been buried here in West Springfield for all that time, probably since about 1893. There's been burials out here. They were not the first congregation out here, though. They had to buy land from the Beth Israel Synagogue, who bought this land originally. And then the cemetery grew and grew. Now we're going to talk about, there's a brownstone here from 1900, Abraham Gordon, and it has in Hebrew above it his name and the dates and the greeting. And then there's one right next to it that it says Isaac Winneman, 1902. And his wife is the one buried here, Gussie, wife of Isaac Winneman, 1847 to 1902. And in Hebrew, it would say that all above. It'll repeat the information, plus a last line with 5 syllables that abbreviate a slogan or a script that says you'll be bounded to the future. And the next one on is in Hebrew only on the front. You can see this time it's 5 different lines. Okay, 5 different lines, and there's no English. And the next one you can't even read, there's nothing on the front or the back. It's probably been worn out. All right? Now, behind it is also Hebrew only, is a Hebrew only. On the front it's Hebrew only, and on the back there's nothing. So the very old ones would typically have only Hebrew. And they would transition over gradually. Now the oldest stone in this cemetery, again, we're only talking about B'nai Jacob Cemetery, is the next one over. It says Jaime Seltzer, died January 20th, 1893, age 43. And his lines of script above it are in 6 different lines. And so that would repeat, after a greeting, it would repeat his name, his year of death, and his age, and then it'll tell the last line that you're bowing yourself to the future and to heaven. Okay, so these are nicely made. There's also an 1895 one up there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a spin around twice. The temple is shared by all of these synagogues. This is the Kodomo section. Right between it is the Beth El section, one of 3 different Beth El sections. There's a little garden off to the side. And then a part I just told you about, there's an old gate. They'll say on it the name of the cemetery section that you're on, and then the entrance road into here. And remember, we're into the B'nai Jacob Cemetery at this point. Now notice the stones are backwards here because this is another cemetery over here. Okay, only this first row on the left as you drive in belongs to the B'nai Jacob. Only the first row. And then on the other side, the first 2 and sometimes 3. So it depends. There's a 3rd row, but it's not as filled in. Usually only 2 rows. And then the stones go a different direction, 90 degrees away. And so the B'nai Jacob is small in the beginning. When it goes up there, it gets to be larger. So up this road is the extent of the B'nai Jacob. but there's a big B'nai Jacob plot up there with signs telling you exactly how to distinguish between all the given sections. All right, I'm going to finish off with one stone right here. It says on it 1898, so it's an early burial, but look at all the Hebrew script on it. So there's much more Hebrew script than usual in this one. I bet the salutation to her is extremely long and it's not repeated in English. So this would be an interesting one for you to try to translate on your own. Okay, and I'm seeing an 1895 one close to it. Remember, I think this cemetery itself, all four will start 1891, not by B'nai Jacob. In 1893, B'nai Jacob bought a slice of it. Okay, thank you very much for coming. We're going to do one final panoramic for you. Thank you very much.